Welcome everybody back to Lunasty's Shoot to Shit. As always, Lunasty here, joining me, WWE Hall of Famer, one half of the greatest tag teams of all time, the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton. Thanks for being here, man.
Man, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me on your show, and I love the intro. Thank you.
Oh,
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
If we could get started, I know that you are second generation in this business, but
Yes.
there's a lot of people that have people like their parents, uncles, aunts, whatever in the industry. What made you want to join in and make it your living?
Well, like you said, I'm second generation, but see, growing up in the business, you really got to understand, and I'm not just bouncing around like a squirrel, but what I'm trying to tell you is to go back. See, my dad, before he was in Memphis, he worked small territory called Nick Goulas.
Mhm.
And my dad pulled the ring, independent shows. It's like independent show, but they were spot shows, small territory. And that was my dad's job, pulling the ring, setting it up and refereeing it. And it was up to me and my brothers to go help him. He'd pick me up after school or sometimes before that, and on Saturdays, and we were way far away and stuff like that. But see, growing up in the business like that and small, wrestling was different back then. It was a whole, your normal wrestler was 5'2" and weighed 500 pounds and didn't go to the gym, but they were just natural workers. And to tell you the truth, when I got later on up in high school and playing football and everything, I really didn't want the wrestling business because I grew up in it, and it wasn't my thing then. It wasn't like wrestling is now, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it was actually it was horrible, to tell you the truth. They didn't draw a lot of people, and they didn't do this right here. And then after I got out of high school and working and dude, I seen how the business was starting to change. And I just got back into it. And then the next thing you know, I'm into it full time. But growing up in the business, and it's not like the wrestling is today. I mean, it was horrible back then, and the guys wasn't in shape. It was just a total different thing. But, I have a son that my son, Kerry, he's going to be third generation. But my most important thing to him is before he starts in the business is to get his education.
Mm-hmm.
See, in our business nowadays, back then it didn't, but having an education, that's where you make the millions and millions of dollars in our business. A lot of people don't understand that. I mean, look at your top guys. That's being on top, like in WWE, for instance, like Rock and like Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. These guys, they have, they graduated from college. I don't know how they all do. You see, and that's the ways they make the millions, because they understand and have the education enough to know what to do and when to do it.
That makes sense. And so after you were trained by your father and a couple others, I know that you stayed mainly in the Tennessee area. I was wondering, who were your traveling buddies, and do you have a favorite road story from back then?
Well, my traveling buddy was my daddy.
Okay.
But no, we travel. Me, Dutch Mantel, and then when I was partners with Ken Lucas in Tennessee, I traveled with Kenny. And then Sonny King. I have some, and that was years. And right off the top of my head, I mean, you're asking me about a road story. I'm sitting here talking, trying to get one to click in, because really, truly, I mean, every day was a road story, and everything's that happened. But you have got to understand, I was at a time in the business then when the wrestling was really changing and I was learning. But I have a lot of good stories. Ken Lucas, he was my first. You know what? Eddie Gilbert was my first tag team partner, but he wasn't 18 yet, so he couldn't work in a lot of the states because they had athletic commissions. In Tennessee, he didn't. But me and Eddie went together in Oklahoma. And you know what? And being on the road, that's a good story to tell you.
Okay.
Eddie Gilbert was my friend, and me and him, we were just kids, and we loaded up and went to Oklahoma to work for Leroy McGurk in that time frame. And I remember Eddie. You know, Eddie's a little spooky, and you know when you're young and you move out, and Eddie. He lived in like a subdivision in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where there was a house out back, you know, like a cottage.
Mm-hmm.
And Eddie rented that. I was with my first wife. I've been happily married a bunch of times.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. But I was with my first wife, Connie, and Eddie called me that day. That's when Texas Chainsaw Massacre just came out. He wanted to know if I wanted to go to movies with him, and I told him, I said, I'm with my wife. I'm off tonight because we're usually on the road. So he went to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then he called me, and it's, you know, he was scared, spooked in that house. So I had my buddy down at the maintenance where I lived in apartments. He had a chainsaw.
Oh God.
I borrowed it, and I went over. He parked my car on the road and walked down that driveway to his house, and I could see Eddie in that house there right there, and he's walking around, and I grabbed that chainsaw and I started up. Next thing I know, I heard the front door, ba-boom, ba-bam, and he's just running fast as his ass could go, man, down that driveway. From laughing so hard, and finally got his attention to let me know it was me. God, he was hot too, boy. He madder than hell at me for a while. But that was just one story. Just thinking about Eddie Gilbert. A lot of them, man. I could tell, but you got to understand me on a lot of things, dude. I'm just glad there wasn't social media in my day.
Yeah.
Did a lot of shit, crazy shit that the world wouldn't accept now. And I don't want to say nothing about one of the boys here. One of the old ladies find out, and boy, I have heat like a son of a bitch.
Oh, no,
So,
good.
okay.
Luckily, he just bolted instead of like answering with a gun or something.
Oh no, yeah, oh God, he was gone. Yeah, Eddie Went was 17 years old.
Yeah.
That was during the summer. Because, you know, I think he just graduated high school. He wasn't even 18 yet. So, and he lived out there. But we were young guys breaking into the business, man, and just trying to find ourselves and learning it.
Awesome. And so from the early years to whenever you first got paired up with Robert Gibson as the Rock and Roll Express, who pitched that idea and what was y'all's first impression of each other?
Oh, well, Robert and I, I'd known Robert for a long time, even before, you know, we broke the business around about the same time. And Robert had a partner, his brother, Ricky. They wrestled, his partner, Ricky and Robert Gibson. But see, I was already friends with Robert. And see, like the guys in our business today, they don't understand. You grow up in this business together. You know, me, Robert, Tommy Rich, Bobby Eaton, Coco Ware, Steve Regal. We all grew up in territories together. You see what I'm saying? And but what I'm getting to, I was partners, and my dad told me this when I in the business. And my dad was real smart, dude. I'm not kidding you. He knew. He taught me to understand the business. You see, that's the downfall of a lot of people that's out on the independent circuit right now. They don't understand our business, but my daddy made me understand it. And it took years for me to get it. I'm serious. I did, to really understand what he was talking about. But he told me, he said, Ricky, tag team wrestling. He said, I can tell it's so big. It's going to be so big because it's just something different. So, that's what I did. I was partners with Eddie Gilbert and Sonny King. And then I found Ken Lucas because I have a lot of people that ask me all the time, Ricky, who is the greatest baby face? Or you're the greatest? No, Ken Lucas was the greatest baby face ever. And he was, if you get a chance to go back and look at some of him, I copied a little bit of his style. I mixed it with mine. But I knew it was going to happen. But I was partners with him in San Antonio, Texas, wrestled for Joe Blanchard, which is Tully Blanchard's dad, Tessa Blanchard's grandpa. They had a territory back then. And it was really good, too. I mean, they had a hell of a territory. And Tully was, I guess, actually the booker. And Tully, even though, I was partners with Ken Lucas and learning a lot, they gave me a little break with Nick Bockwinkel where I had a little run with him and going from there. But Jerry Lawler, he was a booker of Memphis. Mm-hmm. Well, he owned half of Memphis, him and Jerry Chariot. And Lawler was over there, buddy. But him and Jerry were having a little fallout. Jerry had discovered the fabulous ones, Stan Lane and Steve Kern. And they were in a position where they was getting over. And sometimes when you start to get over, you get a little control and a hold on the office where, they start to fight City Hall. And Lawler seen that, so he's having trouble. So Lawler thought about branching off from Jared, open up his own wrestling in Memphis. Now, a lot of people don't know about this, but it was cool. So Lawler come to San Antonio, Texas, and talked to me. He says that, he told me his plans, what he was planning on doing. And he was telling me about the fabulous ones, how over they were. And he says, I want a tag team. They're over, but your working ability is twice better than theirs. And I want to put you with Robert Gibson because Robert knows how to work too. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And plus, I was going back home. I get to come back home and at that time when I was married to Connie, her parents were there. She was missing home. And I was going back home to my state of Tennessee. So we come up, but by the time we gave her a 2-week notice, and by the time I got back to Memphis, Jerry Lawler had already made up with Jerry Jarrett. So now, here we go. But we get there, and they're looking for a name for me and Robert. You had the fabulous ones there, which created themselves after a wrestler at that time called Jackie Fargo. That really was the king of Memphis. And he was over in the state of Tennessee, Kentucky. Holy shit. Unbelievable. And in which they got Fargo to do videos with these guys. And, man, they were over instantly. So we get there. We don't have a name. It's just me and Robert. We don't know what to do. And just so happened, my buddy Jimmy Hart was there. Jimmy Hart and Gentry's. He was a rock and roller. Been on Dick Clark show and all that. And we were thinking, we're throwing stuff around R&R. And Jimmy Hart says, what about the Rock and Roll Express? And Jerry Lawler says, that's the worst name I ever heard in my life. He said, but we'll go with it. And I'm serious. It could have been Ricky and Robert, but yeah. Rock and Roll Express. And that was Jerry Lawler. And I never forget the first, I don't mean to say this bad. I remember the first, we come in on a Sunday. That was our first day. Memphis usually run on Monday, but they had a basketball game there on that Monday night. It was live on television because they had a pro basketball team back then. Well, they still do, but it wasn't like it was over. They was trying to push it. And this is cool, too, because, the pro basketball team wouldn't draw 1,500 people in the Mid-South Coliseum. And I want you to understand the power of professional wrestling back then. I think the Mid-South Coliseum held 12,000 people. Every Monday night, it sold out. From live TV. So now we're here and we going into Memphis. We didn't have nothing to wear. Lawler brought us some tights. Hey, the pair of tights, it was spandex. I never forget this. And Robert had a pair. They brought 2 pair, and I grabbed the purple pair. And the other one was like skin color. And I never forget, he put them on. I'm looking at the monitor, him in the monitor. And I told him, I said, man, you look like you naked. but then they had a flea market that Sunday, and we've been looking through some rock and roll magazines and trying to get ideas. And me, Robert, and Lawler went walking through that flea market, and we bought all kinds of stuff. That's where the bandanas and the feathers and all this right here. And they didn't say who we were coming in. They said, we have a new tag team, the Rock and Roll Express is going to be here Sunday, and all of a sudden our music plays, and here we come out. And Robert and I had the greatest chemistry. We still do. The greatest chemistry ever in this business. And that's something that you got to understand. That's from the years of him working with his brother and me being my dad and stuff. We had chemistry together, man. It's been 38 years and we're still together. I've been with him longer than my wife, but that was the start of the Rock and Roll Express. And I'm telling you, Robert and I, instantly, when we hit the ring, we were over. I could tell, you see, you could always tell when there's something special. And Robert and I had that special gift. Even though the fabulous ones were over, I don't know if you play music or not. I don't know if you listen to a lot of music. But see, in the music business, you meet a lot of people that are good singers and good players. But you see, the reason these rock and roll bands are greater is because they found a different sound. Yeah, they found something different. And Robert and I, with the Rock and Roll Express, it was different. We changed everything. We went from here and high flying. The guys that we worked with really worked with us great. You know what I'm saying? It was, it's even as of being right now, and Robert and I are working, and I tell the guys who would work with us, some of them that understand our business, you can make me look like I'm 64, or you can make me look like I'm 22. You wrestled independence. You understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
See, it's still there. The magic's still there. But understand, it's hard to go out and work with people that don't understand their business. Wanting to do high spots, and high spots really mean nothing in our business. Great moves really mean nothing. If you watch the TV shows, and I can't even watch them no more because it makes my ass want to dip Red Man to see. They tell no stories. Mm-hmm. They do this. It's high spot after high spot. And then you go to the independent circuits on the show you work on, and I'll be damned. I mean, the first match, there's before they even lock up, they're suplexing off the top rope. And you going, what are these guys thinking? They don't never have the time to understand. But when Robert and I were in Memphis and this happened, man, it was we had that spark, that special thing. And I knew after that, Jerry Lawler and Jimmy Hart, Jerry Lawler especially, that's the reason I love Jerry. He gave me and Robert a gift. Lawler told me, I just did a big show in Jackson, Tennessee for Jerry Lawler back in October. And no, it was September the 28th. It was Jerry Lawler night, Kid Rock, and everybody were there that night. And Jerry told me, he said, man, if I knew y'all was going to be like this, he said, I would have copyrighted y'all back then for I can get endorsements. I told us, the money we make, hell, you owe us money. We don't make it. We didn't make that big money like you did. Go ahead, bud.
No, I was going to say, I completely agree with where wrestling is now. I say it all the time that the biggest difference is, I think, ring awareness and psychology is missing a lot. A lot of people, they just do moves and they don't know how to tell the story with those moves, which, like you were saying, high spots and stuff are great. They're flashy. They have their purpose, but when it's move after move after move, it's kind of like lucha, in a way. You're not telling, you're just doing flashy stuff, and that's.
Yeah, man. You know what, though? And I'm glad. And I didn't mean to stop you right there, but I did. I wanted to adjust this right here a little bit more. I do seminars a lot, and this is what a lot of the guys have problems with in the world. Even though I broke into business in the late 70s, a long time ago, but I do seminars, and I do a good seminar too, buddy. But as time went on, they got better because you have to change with the business too. Mm-hmm. I see some guys give seminars, but you can't give a seminar from 1985 or 1980, no matter what. I mean, you have to adapt to, you got to work to the left. Well, it don't happen no more. Especially a lot of your lucha wrestlers that's coming out of Mexico, man, they work everything. They work your right little toe. You hear me?
Yeah.
But they're great. They're great athletes. So you got to learn how to adapt. See what makes a great worker is you can wrestle with anybody. Mm-hmm. And that's what I try to teach. And then I'm going back to tell you something else. And I'm backtracking. Remember earlier when I told you got to understand our business?
Yeah.
Well, that's what they don't understand. I could talk to a guy to make him sometimes. And my daddy used to tell me, he said, son, I can talk to you till I'm blue in the face, and I'll be better off talking to that wall. You're not going to understand it, but it will hit you one day. You know how many people that I've trained that I've told the same thing to, that's like Kid Cash and Chase Owens in New Japan, all of them, they call me, God, I know now I understand what you're talking about. And it does. It happens that way.
Yeah.
But telling the story, nobody has, it's not a hotspot world no more. I wish that I had the opportunity, and I do. But we live in a treacherous world in our business. Oh, and I'm telling you, you should know that. Treacherous world. Somebody, especially when you're competing for a job, because, nobody wants you to come in and take their job. And see, that's what I tried to tell everybody. I don't want to come in and take your job. I want my own job. But I promise you, if you ever get a chance, I have a YouTube show that comes on every Sunday. It'd be 4:05 your time, but it's 5:05 here. But it's on my School of Morton YouTube. I have a live show that comes on every Sunday. But right now I don't, because I shut my school down for 7 weeks. But I went back 7 weeks on my tapes. It started all over again. So when I start back January the 3rd, they will see what happened where I would go back to that point. And listen, dude, to be a YouTube show and School of Morton, and you have 100,000 viewers on a Sunday afternoon, that's pretty damn cool, bud. And all I do is the basic wrestling that tells stories. And I wish that I could get a job or have the opportunity to go in the big company before I could fire everybody. No, get the fuck out of here, man. Y'all don't know what the hell you're doing. And I'm serious. It's so easy if you understand our business, but it's so hard if you don't. And that's where I come to. This business is hard business. But you got to learn it first.
Yeah. And another thing that I wanted to ask you is, as you already know, it's a term. I didn't know it was a thing when I first started working, because you know how you were saying one day things just hit you, so you learn as you continue, wrestling.
Yeah.
Wrestling a pretty old school tag team out in San Antonio. Uh, Whenever he gave me the this, the body slab, goes in and is like, hey, play Ricky Morton, play Ricky Morton. I'm like, I don't know, like I thought it was maybe
So,
a term that he was saying. I don't know, like at the time anyway. I didn't know. I was like, what am I doing? He's like, play Ricky Morton. So that he's like, fucking
start sell.
yeah. So he starts fucking plowing at me, bam, bam, bam. I was like, fucking playing dead. I'm like, okay. So I didn't know what he was saying, but the term playing Ricky Morton. Whenever we came to the back, of course, we're talking over the match, like, play Ricky Morton. He's like, yeah, we're putting the heat on you and stuff. What do you feel about that term still being a thing even today?
Well, yes, sometimes it's a great compliment, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Even Vince used to tell his guys, he said, man, watch tapes and learn how to sell like Ricky Morton. But you see, if guys, now we're going back to the same thing we were talking about.
Yeah.
If you learn psychology of our ring, let me tell you something. You remember Hulk Hogan when he was so over in our business? If you ever watched Terry, one of the greatest workers in the business. But one thing that he did do was sell.
Yep.
Come back. The roof would come off the building. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, it's a great compliment. It's a lost art.
Mm-hmm.
And when baby faces learn how to sell, they could tell a story in their match. I mean, it looks like to me they're afraid to go off their feet. Afraid it's going to make them look bad and do this. And being, I'm going to go here. I'm sorry, I'm flipping and jumping, but you're going to have that all day with me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Even, people tell me, how was it like being 9-time world champions? It was great. But see, I never wanted to be a champion. Mm-hmm. Do you know why? Because you don't draw money being a champion. See, the people pay to see me beat the heels. They don't pay to see me lose. You hear me? Yeah. So the babyface is always chasing heels. That's the reason Memphis sold out every Monday night. That's the reason New Orleans sold out every night. Mm-hmm. That's the reason we did 40,000 people in the Superdome in 1984. If people to only understand is selling, is giving the people everything. If they start to learn how to do that again and understand, because it's Robert and I chasing the heels. But the heels always screw you every week. Yeah. And then on the big show in the Superdome, we're in a match where they can't do that to everything that they have done that we have had this run with, because the heels will screw you every week, you see. And then you'd come to that one big match where they can't do none of that. And then the baby faces go over, we win, and right before the matches, after you win, you get the big pop, the heels jump back on you, beat the shit out of you again.
Yeah.
A couple weeks later, they screw you out of the belts again, or another tag team would, and you chase them.
Yeah.
That's how you draw money in our business, buddy. And it's not, I like, it's 50% knowing, but it's not about you diving over the top rope. That's for wrestling real marks. Mm-hmm. That's for the smart marks that think they know everything about our business.
Yeah. And
really don't know nothing. And that's what that's about. So why don't we try to capture the old audiences back? Yeah. And if anybody wants to tell you, well, they all know. Yeah, but it's but I don't give a shit who you are. You could do that angle, that little bit, that big of doubt is in somebody's mind. They were paid to buy a ticket. Mm-hmm. If you just give them that little bit of doubt, and it still works. Many times at my school, I have several times at my school, my YouTube show. Get a chance, watch it this Sunday. Okay. Get a chance, watch it. And it comes on School of Morton on YouTube. That's my Facebook for my wrestling school. It's a tape, but it's getting back to where we're going. And several times I had to cut and go to commercials at my school for my sponsors because the damn marks hit the ring. I have that much heat on my heels. And seeing people don't even understand that. You're out there bad, going around. Look here, I come out there curtain cutting interviews. Get out of my damn ring. What the hell's wrong with y'all?
Yeah.
But, then I stopped to think, well, I put so much heat on these heels that even though the smart marks, they still had that little bit of doubt. Mm-hmm. And that's what's so cool about our business.
Yeah.
That everybody, that you guys these days don't understand. I want to say this, and there's a lot of guys in this business that has worked here. Do you know what I'm talking about? Stages?
Yes.
A lot of them have worked here. All right. Now, it's a whole lot of difference when you're on a contract and you have a multi-billion-dollar company pushing you on TV. Whole lot of difference. But when you work here, when you work territories that where the boys depend on you to sell out for they can pay their bills at home, they can stay in the territories. You see, that's a whole different ballgame. I never in my life have ever been on a contract. We was talking about this earlier. I never made the millions of dollars. That's the part about I want my son to get his education. So when he gets in this business, a lot more educated than I was to understand that at that time in territories that the promoters robbed you damn blind.
Yeah.
You hear me? And you were afraid that something to happen and you lose your spot. A lot of shit, a lot of stuff that a lot of guys wouldn't understand what happened in territories. They don't even understand that. But man, it's a lot of difference. I don't know where I went from there, but I'm here. I'm back now.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's a good thing to know with people that are, because I'm going to get into that later with advice for younger people breaking in. But yeah, that goes into, getting with people like Ricky Morton who've been in, because it all comes down to trainers as well, not just education. People that you're breaking in the business and you're trusting with, moving on to the next level. You're a perfect person to be picking at that brain.
Yeah, you know what? And a lot of people don't understand either, too. I mean, you're only as good as your opponent wants you to be. Mm-hmm. I don't care who you are. I mean, if I don't want to, I just go out there and sit down, make you look like shit, or you can sit down and make me look like shit. Yeah. It's the same thing out there. But people don't understand what I'm trying to tell you here, guys, and it's out there. And I'm going to go in to talking to something right here to let you understand for a minute about territory wrestling. You see, a lot of people have asked me in the days, would you like for territory wrestling to come back? Well, hell no, I wouldn't like for it to come back. And the guys these days don't want it to come back because you got to understand there's and I want to tell you, because when we went to Mid-South, were you born, Dad? Were you born when Robert and I were in Mid-South Wrestling, 1984, 85?
I was not, but random fun fact. So I was born in 89. You and I have the same birthday.
September 21st.
September 21st.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
But now I want to explain something to you. See, Robert and I, we were in Memphis, but we were playing second fiddle to the Fabulous Ones, okay? And the Fabulous Ones were fighting with Lawler all the time. See, because I made this statement earlier, you can't fight City Hall, buddy. The first break it's in our business, and guys understand this. You have to be at the right place at the right time to get a break in our business, but being prepared for what you're going to do, because you never know what they're going to throw at you. At this time, Robert and I were playing second fiddle to the Fabulous Ones in Memphis, and Bill Watts owned Mid-South Wrestling in Louisiana, and Bill Watts had guys, and this is what I was saying earlier about something new. Well, when Robert and I went into Louisiana, Bill Watts is getting ready to retire. Because you understand me? You're not going to get over Bill Watts. And Bill Watts didn't want a booker that wrestled in his territory because he didn't want to push himself. So Bill Dundee was at the right place. Bill Dundee went in as a booker. Okay, now Bill Watts is retiring. So Bill Watts, I'm telling you, if you was a babyface, you didn't have a chance because you're never going to get over him.
Mm-hmm.
You understand me? And in territories, the boys owned them. Like the Fuller, Robert Fuller, and his brother. They were there. You're not going to go in their territory and get over them.
Yeah,
it's still their territory from them. That's just the way it was. If you was a heel, you had a good chance because you go in and you have a 6-month run with them, and then you go to another territory. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Then they finally beat you. But see, Bill Watts at that time, I think when Robert and I went in there, Bill Watts was a big guy. So everybody in his territory was big. I think he just finished his angle with Abdullah the Butcher. You see what I'm saying? Now, so when we come in there, Robert and I, we changed the whole wrestling business. They shot videos and showed them and shot them on TV, and we run them into there. But when we got there, they have just turned Abdullah babyface before we come in because Bill Watts had beat him. They got another heel coming in. So Abdullah's got to get the other heel over for Bill Watts to work with. You see what I'm saying? And they're all big. Here's Abdullah, the top babyface. Now think about this. How you going to draw? You just drew old wrestling fans. You didn't draw the young girls. You didn't draw the people because you think that this 16-year-old girl is going to buy a ticket to cheer for Abdullah the Butcher? Do you understand? And then here Robert and I come in. We're new. Jesus Christ, we're the, and I'm serious, I didn't know it, man. We were the best rock and roll group ever. I'm serious. We were over like you can't even imagine. I remember our first night that we come into Louisiana after them showing videos of us on TV, but we're in Lafayette, Louisiana. And we get out of the car, and here come the people up from the news interviewing us because they want to know what's going on about you guys and your professional wrestlers. And we're asking him. He said people have been camped out here for a week to get tickets to see you. He's saying that. See, Robert and I were at that point where it changed. God, when you draw girls, you draw guys. You hear? And then when you draw the younger girls, and listen to them, because I never did nothing like that. But see, the younger girls, the parents have got to come with them. Yep. You see? So now, you're drawing everybody, especially when you draw women, you draw guys. Yeah. And when you bring the younger people, their parents come. Mm-hmm. So every town that we were going to, especially in the Louisiana area, we Elvis Presley country back then. We broke all of Elvis Presley's records and attendance records, especially in Shreveport at the, Louisiana Hayride. Man, we did all that stuff, all these buildings, and it's the same thing to when we went to the Carolinas. We broke all of the records, attendance records, until they built bigger buildings. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of the towns we had to go outside because there wasn't no place big enough to hold them. See, that's being over, buddy. But you see, I'm not trying to get away from this or to that. The reason we kept drawing is because we knew how to work. They didn't come to see me do a moonsault off the top rope. They come to see me sell and be begging and reaching out to the crowd, trying to reach to give Robert that hot tag. You see, and it's the greatest thing in the world when you learn that magic. It's like we're a whole different band. We're a whole different rock and roll band with a whole different sound. Greatest time of my life. And I wished everybody in this building, in this business, could experience that.
Yeah.
but we got away from it.
Well, I know you mentioned earlier about how you didn't want to be a champ, but if we could talk about the 6-man tag champ or the 3-man tag champs that you'd had in WCW. I know you were at one time a champ with like Terry Taylor and Junkyard Dog and Matt Bohr.
Yeah.
What did you think of those titles, and do you think that they would be successful today?
No, they sucked. And the reason why is because you were lost in the shuffle.
Mhm.
At that time, the reason, and somebody told me this other day, they text something that I turned heel because Robert hurt his leg. No, I started working with Ric Flair because Robert hurt his leg, and Robert did this, and they had it all backwards. You see, at that time, me and Junkyard Dog, and then Terry Taylor, then he made us the York Foundation. And I know that we're here, but to tell you the truth, and I may say that for later, that you being a 6-man tag champion, that means you're lost in the shuffle.
Gotcha.
Okay, that means they don't know what to do with you, or that means you're on your way out because they're trying to put somebody else. It's a suck belt. Okay, I don't want to be no 6-man tag team champion. Kiss my butt. All right, go ahead.
Well, on that note, one of my buddies wanted to have me tell you that he really loved the York Foundation storyline.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's just something random. He wanted me to let you know he loved it. So.
Well, thank you. Now we got a little time. Let's talk about. I want to see, because you make me go back and think a lot of things. You know,
Okay.
I had some guy, like I was telling you earlier, somebody said something about me being in the York Foundation. They says, "Oh, Robert got hurt. He did the angle with Ric Flair," and then see, it's all backwards.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great run with Rick, but see, they at that time they were grooming Magnum TA to work with Ric Flair. Well, matter of fact, Magnum was going to be the world heavyweight champion.
Okay.
And Magnum had a car wreck, broke his neck, paralyzed. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, and Dusty was a great booker. Dusty booked a year ahead of the time. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
So that whole angle's gone. Rick had nobody to work with, and they couldn't get. And I'm telling you, it's hard to get a babyface over to work with Ric Flair. But Rick see me, Rick, we wrestle him a lot, and I was seeing our business being at the right place at the right time. They're back there talking in the office. We're at the TV, and they're going through things, and all of a sudden I walk by. Ric Flair goes, "Holy shit." Because we were over, buddy. I was over. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I was better than Robert, or don't get me wrong that. But all the angles, you see, I understood. I did things.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing I did was every Monday I'd go to the office, and before we did our TV, I would talk to Dusty to make me understand what he wanted that was in his mind. See, that's what guys don't do.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that's what made Dusty a great booker, and the reason Dusty pushed himself a lot. It wasn't because of that, because nobody understood what he was thinking when you did these angles. It gave you that brainstorm. And I was lucky as hell, you know what I'm saying? And I had a great run. No matter of fact, a lot of people don't know this. I beat Flair for the world title, but when I was talking to him, things didn't work out right. And a lot of people say, "Oh, it didn't happen." But see, a lot of people wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
They wasn't in that room with me when I was talking to them. I beat, but I had to get the belt back to them because they wanted to split Robert and I up. And I wasn't going to let that happen, because I started, listen to me, besides fighting for the common man, I was one of the common men, and I wasn't going to throw my partner up under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Shawn Michaels did that to Marty Jannetty. Look at Marty Jannetty now.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No. Robert and I wouldn't do it. I'm too much of a man. And I will sit there and tell you that. So if anybody wants to think about that, it's no matter what Jimmy Cornette says. I love Jimmy Cornette, but Jimmy Cornette wasn't the booker of every territory. Jimmy Cornette wasn't in the office at every meeting. He didn't sit in there and go over things. There's a lot of shit he don't know, you know. But I do. And at the time, what you was talking to me about, the 6-man tag, see how it was a thing that we were lost in because Robert got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
That was when Robert got hurt, and I was there. And this is a great story. You might like this. I come into Knoxville, Tennessee, and Robert was sitting over being real quiet in the dressing room over the corner over, and I'm over here talking, and I walk over to him. I said, Robert, what's wrong with you? I got hurt last night in the ring. You know, and I walk back and sit down, and I'm thinking to myself, you got hurt last night. Fuck, you never even got in the ring. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I wish you did something. So everybody went out, and I went over and I asked him, I says, Robert, what happened to you last night? I said, what's wrong with you? He said, my old lady ran over me in the car.
Oh,
and she did. Jesus Christ. Look here, man. And everybody was out. He pulled it. His whole leg was black. What it did, it just tore his fucking knee. I don't know how he was, but I told him, I says, all right, now that's something. See, this is WCW now. You see what I'm saying? I told him, I said, Robert, listen to me. We're wrestling Butch Reed and Ron Simmons, Doom, in Knoxville, Tennessee. Because I never forget this. And I told Robert, I says, now, they got to go to the ring first because they pay our music last to get a big pop. I says, when I go, I'm going to go out running, and I'm going to go all the way around the ring up here in the crowd. That way the people won't recognize you. And I says, make your ass to the ring and get up on the side of the fucking ring and just get there. Okay? Excuse my language. I'm sorry. I done got off. If you want to beep that out, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. The show's called Shoot to Shit, so you're good.
Okay. So we did that. And I got into the ring, and I started the match off, and I got him going. But I told Robert, back in the dressing room, I said, when I tag you, trip over the rope coming in. I said, just take a bump. He says, just take a bump. I said, just take a fucking bump. I would take care of everything. And WCW owned it then. That was Ted Turner. And then one of your employees get hurt, even though we wasn't on contract, he still got hurt there. So Robert come in, he fell. Butch Reed going, what happened to him? I said, God, did you hear? This is mind over matter. I says, did you hear his knee pop? Yes, I did. Bam, bam. So I did the thing. I says, boom, beat me. I got him to beat me right there. 1, 2, 3, and I got over to Robert. Lucky fucker. Because I wasn't on contract. Robert got hurt. Boom, and they bought it. Well, see, they sent Robert to the University of Alabama, where the best knee surgeon in the world was. They reconstructed his old knee.
Nice.
Then they paid him $2,000 a week for a year for him to come back. And here I am working as the 6-man tag team champion, kiss my ass, making nothing, probably $800 a week.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Doing this stuff. And matter of fact, then they put me in the York Foundation, still no contract. Mm-hmm. Then when I was then Robert came back, and I wrestled him at pay-per-view. And after that match was over, me and him both left and went to Smoky Mountain.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, good looking out, though. Good looking out. That's you come
well,
out.
No, that was my part. Here you go. I'll show you something you never seen. They finally gave this to me. See right there? That's where I beat Flair. That was in Richmond, Virginia.
Nice. Yeah.
But I gave it back to him.
Okay.
I gave it back, and I did. I gave it back because I did. They weren't going to get rid of Robert, and if I would have left him, but they had this made for me. See, it has Ricky Morton on the bottom.
Nice. Yeah.
They never officially, maybe the world champion, but they made this for me, gave it
That's
to me.
awesome.
Yes, they did. I mean, it's gave to me, and I like that. It means a lot to me. A lot of people don't know that story, and a lot of people say it didn't happen, but I promise you it happened. All you got to do is read Ric Flair's book.
Yeah.
It'll tell you in there. Okay.
Yeah. So leaving WCW went to Smoky Mountain. So you've been back where it was WWF, been in Japan, all that stuff. And then you went over to ECW briefly. How was that atmosphere back there?
Well, you know what? I went. It was the independent circuit for me, really.
Okay.
Because I didn't go to ECW full time.
Mm-hmm.
I just went in and made shots. I had a little hill run there with and my wife, Andrea, was my valet. She's still my wife. It was a turn. I got to say this one thing for Paul, that owned ECW. He really put a change, and this is where our business started to change to where it is now, because they made it hardcore. You know what? Them boys just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
Tommy Dreamer, Shane Douglas, New Jack. If you go back and watch some of they did some outlandish shit, diving off in balconies and stuff. And that was at a time when nobody did that stuff, because in our business, you always took care of your opponent. Mm-hmm. You hear me? Because we depended on each other to make a living, and which they did in ECW too, but they took it to the extreme. That's why it was called Extreme Championship Wrestling. You knew that before you went in there, but people knew me. They respected me. They didn't try to throw me off balconies or over the top rope, and I had great workers. It was an experience, because you know what? It was a learning experience for me too. Mm-hmm. That helped me to adjust to this business. See, and you know, earlier we talked about you know, our business changes every day, and you got to be willing to change with it. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't, you know, and that's the reason the guy, you know, and that's where I come in earlier. See, I still have the ability to train and still how to put the things together using old school with middle school with ECW school and today's school. Yeah. See, you can still do all that, but make it mean something. Holy shit, man. I mean, sometimes I watch Monday Night Raw, and when you've been in this business for 46 years, mm-hmm. and you don't understand what the hell they doing, what do you think a regular wrestling fan thinks? They're just looking for a hot spot. You see what I'm saying? They've been lost. And there we go.
Well, also with WWE's product now, they have the manufactured fan chants. So it's like what they would think fans would chant at a certain time, and it's not genuine at all.
No. You know, I got you. It's not. It's what they, and it's hard. But listen, before I get off on all this shit, what's really hard is it's hard to, you know this, dude. You know, we feed off the crowd.
Yes.
And when you go out and work in a building with no people, it's the hardest. Because I did this a couple of times. You get slammed and there's no people. And you feel like, because the people don't really understand how much you feed off the fans, and things don't bother you. Drilling's going so much that when there ain't no drilling going, and especially being 64, they slam me, and I feel like one of them cartoons that broke into a million pieces. And here comes somebody with a broom and sweeps my ass up. And it does. It's hard. So my hat's off to the boys of our business that do work without the fans. That's hard. And I can understand sometimes what some of the stuff is shitty, but then I understand it's got to come a stop, and you got to do something about it. You got to start taking care of it now.
Yeah.
because when the pandemic's over with, this business is going to explode back again because people were starving for entertainment, and they're starving to death. So, all right, man.
I don't know if you're following that, but how AEW just teased working with Impact Wrestling. So that's another thing, them to combine in, joining forces.
AEW?
Yeah.
They're working with Impact now?
Correct. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's all right, though. You know, I seen, and my hat's off to Steve. Well, Sting.
Yeah.
You know, he come back there and he boosted their ratings way up. And that's cool. Yeah. See, that goes to tell you that people are starving for something.
Yeah.
You know, they're starving for something. And and the only thing I don't like about some of this stuff, and please, there's a lot of great talent out there. I'm a firm believer in building your own talent. There's a lot of young guys in this business that have been looked over. Cody does a good job of it. You know, Cody does. He recognized. He'd been for a while. He had people coming in working with him. But you can't keep doing it forever. You see, and but he gave some of the guys a chance. Some of the guys to get, you know, recognized on a TV show that they'd never been before. And I got my hats off to Cody for doing that. I've been to AEW a couple of times, and just the respect of what they did for Robert and I. Not only that, but the boys there. You know, they let the people not forget about us, and it's great. It's a wonderful thing. AEW is a great promotion. You know, and they brought, you know, I know the Young Bucks were on the independent circuit in Japan, but when they come to TV, they get to see a different thing. You know, what a great tag team. Ortiz and Santana, they're unbelievable. I think they're one of the best tag teams in the country. All the best tag teams are working for AEW right now. It goes from the Lucha all of them. You know, they're great. And what entertainment they give to the people. I like it very much. It's a lot better than
not the
some shit I see.
Yeah, right.
You damn right.
Yeah.
No, hey, we did that little angle. Hey,
yeah,
we did that on TV. I got power drive for saying that.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Well, yeah. Well, the next thing I was going to talk about is more of a combination, more of a statement from myself and a question from one of the guys from the Facebook page, Walmart Jubak. So what I was going to say is it's just crazy how you're still active today. Like I just was showing my wife the other day the match that you had with Nick Aldis. That was some good stuff. And then whenever y'all did the 6-man tag, you did a suicide dive in a Canadian destroyer. Like,
yeah,
that was like, so okay. The question was from like I said, Jubag. He wanted to know how many virgins did you sacrifice to still be going this late?
No,
by the same demon as Terry Funk.
Did you happen to see the match of me and Joey Janela?
I have not.
To get to watch. Okay, go back. It's this new spring break that we just did back in August, I think. August or September.
Okay.
I think it was in September. Oh, buddy, it's really hardcore.
Really?
Now, to answer your question for you, it's the people that you work with that can make you look 64 or can make you look 22. When I did with Ortiz and Santana, that was the Joey Janela spring break. That was in New York City. I don't know. I just know Santana told me, he said, come off my partner's back and sunset flip me and hold on. Go back and watch this one.
Okay.
Because we did a Canadian destroyer. Okay. I'll come off. I dove. I held on to him. I did the Canadian destroyer, and the people went nuts. What a pop. Boom. And I jumped up, and I went, what the fuck did he just do? They don't know. Yeah, I'm telling Robert. I said, what the fuck did he just do? Because I didn't do it.
Yeah.
You understand me?
Yeah.
They made me look good.
It was awesome.
But, yes, you know what? The only problem we had about the match that night is they wanted to put me over.
Okay.
And I wouldn't let them. I said,
Yeah.
no, man, y'all do to fix to get the break of your life. Yeah, but it's a work and it's respect. And I says, no, you guys, y'all beating me tonight. Okay. See, do
That's
you
awesome.
understand what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
Like I said, you
But
come on.
same
But,
thing with Joey Janela.
uh-huh.
Watch it. This happened in September, I think, in Indianapolis. Watch me and his match. But Joey does, see, same thing. And Joey is the most underrated wrestler in the world, I think. That they just don't understand how good he is because they're been listening to the cult of Jimmy Cornette.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm serious. I mean, I love Jimmy, but understand me. What Jimmy says is what don't run our business. Because Jimmy don't like Joey Janela. Joey Janela is unbelievable worker.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I mean, if guys even understand, but see, he's not in a position to work with the bigger guys. Joey's, him and Sonny got their level, in between. But Joey's a great worker. And when you show this match to your wife, brother, we're going through tables and suplexes off the side of the ring, and I'm bleeding, and he's shooting me through doors, and he's coming off the top rope, and I'm up under a door. Nuts. But you see, I could trust him with my body. And we tore the house down. But see, that's what makes a good worker that your smart marks don't understand.
Yeah.
They're unbelievable. I mean, you don't know. You have a job in this business. That's make your opponent look good and to tell a story.
Yeah. And so
go ahead.
Another thing is like coming back into this business. So I had to introduce my wife to a lot of stuff. So we met this last year, I believe it was. And when I was showing her some of your stuff, I was wondering what it was like. I mean, what is it like that you had wrestled Ric Flair in his prime, and now here you are in almost the same company, same title, almost with Nick Aldis? Like, how awesome is that?
And besides, and even though I wrestled Nick Aldis for the NWA in the same company, but a different company.
Yeah.
Me and Robert won the World Tag Team belts for the night time.
Yeah.
And that's what led up to me and Nick's match. And you see a lot of people, I got a lot of criticized from a lot of people. It's the same thing. Why is Ricky Morton in wrestling for the world title? But see, it's not that. It's not Ricky Morton. If I had a chance and I played music to get on the stage and play guitar with Jimmy Page, you think I wouldn't take that chance?
Most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't the part that he's wrestling me for the belt. Nick Aldis just wanted to wrestle me on TV. Yeah. He's never had that chance, and he will never probably get that chance again. You see, now he could say that he had a session with Ricky Morton.
Yeah.
And I wished that it was 30 years ago, because even though we had a good match, we could have had a hell of a lot better one 30 years ago. It's hard when you're, and at that time I was 63. It's hard, buddy.
Yeah.
To hold, especially because he's out of that mode of a little stiff and lay it in and keep going. But it's all right. To me, I was very pleased with the match and how it was, because Nick Aldis, he's a guy that when the NWA starts back up, he's really good.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good. That's the reason he's an NWA World Heavyweight Champion. I like Nick. He's a good guy. He's a great professional, and he carries himself well, real well.
Right. He was a great guy. Another thing is, whenever you guys were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame 2017, mm-hmm. I was wondering, was there anything that WWE left off from y'all's accolades, or was something that you would have wanted to say, like in your speech, that you might have missed?
A lot of things. If they only understood, you see, with our time that we was with WWE, that's when we did the thing with Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And then when the Smoky Mountain cut down, Jimmy Cornette, that's the reason he shut Smoky Mountain down. One of them. It's because he's starting to work for Vince. Been with Jimmy for years. And now I got to say this. See, this is why I love Jimmy Cornette. He shut Smoky Mountain down. He didn't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy just got us a job with WWE.
Okay.
You know, and when you work for them, wasn't on contract, but even though I didn't even work for them any, they sent me $500 a week. And then when you work, they really paid you good.
Yeah.
And I got to say that. I mean, it's one thing, people can knock Vince McMahon all he wants, but the ones that knock him are millionaires. They're all millionaires. Shut up.
Yeah.
Hey, shut up. No, not really, because, they had a speech for me. And when you get up in front of, on the stage as WWE, and they induct you to the Hall of Fame, and I walked out on that stage, and I totally got just lost. But I had the paper there, but then I stopped. And I got to thinking, I said, hell, I'm just going to speak from my heart. I told Robert really what he meant to me. I mean, we did. Him and I did things in life that you never would believe if I told you I had to write a book. Then, hell, but you just couldn't even believe what we done. Mm-hmm. Me and him had been around the world 10 different times. I'm talking about all the way around the world.
Yeah.
Cities and lives, partied. Dude, we were rock stars. You hear me? Jesus Christ. Yeah. But if I tell you one story, that's only one night.
Yeah.
You hear me? There's fucking 35 years of that, and but just the point of being inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame, that's my real deal. Just to have that feeling you walked out. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the boys in AEW, the guys in WWE, Vince, and them. And when they called me, they said, Ricky Morton, we want to put you in the WWE Hall of Fame. He says, because without you being into our Hall of Fame, it wouldn't be real. He said, you're the greatest babyface tag team that there ever was. And I'm not trying, there's a lot of great talent, but a pure babyface tag team.
Yeah.
Robert and I, we were the greatest in the world, bar none. I mean, you had your great, but but just pure babyface. And we changed our business. It's the greatest honor in the world, man, to walk out on that stage and understand me, have Vince McMahon put that ring on your finger. I'm serious. I mean, he didn't hand you a box. He put the ring on my finger. Yes. And it shook my hand. And it to let a company like that remember who you are, I mean, buddy, that's emotional.
Yeah.
It's cold chills on that arm right now. Okay.
Because I was
going to see the boys. Go ahead.
On to the next few things that I was watching it with my wife. We love watching it. It's like you said, you mentioned it a couple of times during your speech that you got lost, but it come from the heart. And it was really cool to see you guys feeling the crowd, and reminiscing on some of the stuff. And like you said, that emotional and heartfelt at the very end. And of course, the wife's like, "You crying?" Like, "No, bitch, you're crying." Whatever. Yeah.
Well, you see, and it's cool because when Linda McMahon come up and hugged me. She said, "Holy shit!" I mean, not shit, but she said, "Holy crap, man! You had me on into that." She said, yeah. "God, it was so emotional." And she said, "Believe it or not, you could not believe some of the wrestlers that were crying when you were talking." But I mean, it was emotional. It was it was like, I mean, it's one of the greatest in the business. Okay, in the business, it was the greatest moment of
Yeah.
our lives in the business.
Yeah. I don't feel
Okay.
bad for crying now. I'm just kidding.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so now moving forward, is there anybody on today's current product that you would like to wrestle as singles and as a tag team?
Uh, yeah, I like to wrestle FTR.
Yeah.
And the reason why is it's not about, it's just business. They're a great tag team. Our business has changed a lot. They're great, but things in our business has changed so much. I don't know if you watched AEW when they power dropped me. Did you see that?
Not no.
In AEW, you didn't? When we were on there, and till I slapped Tully Blanchard, and they power dropped me. I hadn't talked to them since then, but
Okay.
I got a message from them, and they told me, because I got hurt, I went straight out to the back. I didn't want nobody march, and I still kayfabe. You hear me?
Yeah.
But they told me they had never had anybody sell for them like that. Do you see what I'm saying to you, buddy?
Yeah.
Just think if I had a match with them. Holy shit. I swear to God, I get the marks in the ring. I get the marks in the ring. That's my job, man. I can make you believe that you're killing me. Yeah. You can't imagine some of the guys like Dr. Steve Williams and Arn Anderson and the Midnight Express. They tell me, get up, man, quit selling. You're going to get me killed. People come through the ring, throw shit at them. But that's doing my job, man. That's doing my job.
Yeah. Like you said, it's what draws,
Yeah.
So I got just a couple more for you before we take it home, as you will.
Sure, bud.
So a random question that was given to me for you is your hair is still going strong. So
my what?
Your hair. Your hair.
My mullet?
Yeah.
Look at this shit. It looked like I combed it with a hand grenade today, but go ahead.
Going strong. So we're wondering, was there any time, from when you started till now that you were deciding maybe I could, change it up after it got long, or is it just going to be your thing?
No. It's my thing.
Yeah.
I'm a hair band wrestler.
Yeah.
It's my thing. As long as I'm lucky. Now, don't get me wrong. It's thinned out like everybody else's. But, Robert's lost his hair and everything. And besides that, my wife told me I could never cut my hair. She's, but I never wanted to. Ric Flair even told me. He says, damn, Ricky, he said, WCW come in and it turned corporate. They made me cut my hair. He said, I wished I'd never have cut my hair.
Yeah.
He said, but now I can't grow it back out because I cut my hair and it's been these years. He said, and it's me. And you know what? And it's the greatest thing in the world because, dude, with a mullet, you get recognized everywhere you go. Yeah. They know that's Ricky Morton. That's just my trademark.
Yeah.
But when I'm in town driving or when I'm on the road, when I go on the road, I have to put my hair up in a hat and wear because everybody still recognizes you. You be going down the road, people be waving at you, but they run you off the damn interstate or out here on the main roads. I have to change my cars. I tinted my windows, but then the state law, you can't tint them no more. So, but they do. But it's a great thing. I love my hair. That's a part of me. And I've had it since we started the Rock and Roll Express, and I'm never going to change it.
We just want to drink what you're drinking, man, because going at it after all these years, like I said, still having that hair, it's just nuts, man.
Good.
We want to play like Ricky.
Yeah, man.
So, you've been in the locker room for, like I said, almost better part of 40 years. So you were in the locker room from, light handshakes to almost no kayfabe at all. So
yes.
My question is, would you have any advice, like I said, being old school to present day wrestlers and tag teams, breaking in now.
Yeah, break it in now. Are you talking about in the dressing room? Is that part of that, or about
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
just this? Well, the main thing is, and this happens all the time, and it really pisses me off, is you walk into the dressing room, and there's girls sitting in there, and we had girl wrestlers on the card tonight. Oh no, that's my girlfriend.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's your girlfriend. Oh, but listen to me now.
Yeah.
And I said, dude, you just shouldn't have your wife in the dressing room.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, blow you off, right? Okay, that's cool. Because I'm going to tell you something about me and Robert Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between me and Robert is I walk up and put it in. He puts it in and walks up. This son of a bitch was like this. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Robert, get dressed. Take your clothes off in front of this guy's old lady right here.
Yeah.
She's in the men's dressing room. He'd get her out of there because she's going, wow, yours is not like that. That's what I'm trying to tell you, buddy.
Yeah.
And I do. And Robert, he don't give a shit. I mean, same way. I've been with my wife. I only been married twice, my first wife, but she's been with me for 30-something years. She's been to the wrestling matches. Matter of fact, she's used to valet me. She's never been in the dressing room in her life.
Yeah.
No, it's just respect. And now you're getting back to the point of walking in and introducing yourself. It's even now when you work with the guys, and I do a show sometimes. Some of the people, I get paid for it. I put their tag team guys over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they don't even come over to thank you. They don't even thank you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
then they get pissed off if you don't want to do stuff with them. Well, dude, I don't know you.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that to me and hurt me because you do not even have the common sense and not knowing that I'm putting my body in your hands.
Yeah.
The guys don't know that. You need to understand that when you work with people. Don't do a move that might hurt him because he's on the independent show trying to get a break just like you are. But he probably got a wife and a kid that he has to go to work Monday morning.
Yeah.
Don't do something to mess his life up where you can't go to work to feed his families. You guys don't understand this. It's hard to make it into your head. You don't got to do that.
Yeah.
Just and try to make them to slow down. It's hard when you go out and you tell the people, watch this match right here, watch the fans. It's like they're watching a tennis match. And if they move, if they talk to the person beside them for a second, they don't miss 10 moves.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting out there, see the wrestling ring is their stage.
Yeah.
Right now you see me doing this, but it's a habit. You know why I do that all the time for? Because when you're in the ring, if you do that, people will look at you. That's the reason I have the people hollering rock and roll because I'm making them see what I'm doing. If you're going to pull the baby face's hair, don't pull it like this. Let the whole Coliseum see you do stuff.
Yeah.
Take your time. You tell your story, man. Learn. And if you don't understand that, come to the School of Morton.
Yep.
I promise you guys, the ones out there, even the ones that think that you know everything, come to my school one day. I promise you I will teach you more in an hour than you learned in 2 years.
Love it.
Because you don't understand my business. And it's really easy. That's why I do good. I have great seminars and I do things. It's because I just don't try to teach you 1980s wrestling.
Yeah.
I try to teach you to understand the flow. And I told you earlier, our business is not about the move you do. You know what? 90% of the guys that's on the independent circuit don't even know how to work a headlock routine. They don't even know what the hell you're talking about. You see, that's what people like me and like. I can tell when you get in the ring if you have how many matches you can have, or if you're experienced or not experienced.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that's the things that people that are looking for when they come to see a show like that. It's not about that. If you got to know, and I have to know that that you're experienced enough, and half of them don't even know how to carry themselves. You know what? They don't even know how to start a match. 90% of them don't. So, man, that's what you need to learn to work on.
Yeah.
Want to work on. And it's not about doing a hurricane Corona. Nobody gives a shit because the match before you done it too.
Yeah.
The most important thing in the guys today, if you take this advice from me, you'll really see. The next time you have a match, instead of you asking your girlfriend about your match, instead of you asking your best friend that thinks you're the greatest wrestler in the world because you did a hurricane Corona, go find somebody that you don't know and ask them, do they watch your match?
Yeah.
You know what kind of answer they're going to get? They say, yeah. And all they're going to remember is the finish. Who won and who lost. And that's how you put asses in seats.
Yeah.
And when you understand that, that's when you'll be good in our business.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I love that part. But man, I'm just drawing back to you talking about Mr. Gibson's, Big Daddy meat stick. You're the one who said that he was in a nude-colored spandex earlier, right?
Oh yeah, look here, dude. That's badass. Huh? Hey, dude. This bitch has got more meat than I got in my refrigerator.
All right.
But that's just. Oh yeah.
So go ahead.
Dude, I can tell you stories. But listen to me, man. My wife just walked in the door here.
Gotcha.
And I have to go.
We'll take it home.
But I won't. But no, listen. You could ask me something else here in a minute. But I'm just going to tell you, and people like you.
Yeah.
You're how I make my living. I want to thank you for having me on your show. But you understand, there's a lot of guys in our business that are suffering right now. Can't pay bills, and believe it or not, I'm not rich. But I have a good booking this coming weekend. But what I got today, it goes to help boys. And I promise you it does. It could help me. But there's a lot of them that don't have no work. And I try to help them. And I want you to, and that's truly from my heart, okay? So, I mean, you paid me to do this today, but I promise you, money don't go in my pocket. It goes help independent wrestlers. And it does, okay?
That's awesome. Man,
go ahead.
I was going to say, I did see that you have a booking on your Instagram. So if you guys are out there, y'all check out Ricky Morton stuff. He's got School of Morton on Twitter and on Facebook. On the Twitter handle, it's Real Ricky Morton. Right? Instagram is the babyface _ Ricky Morton, right?
Yes, sir. Hey, babyface Ricky Morton. And then Facebook is Ricky Morton or School of Morton.
Or School of Morton. And be sure to check out the Pro Wrestling Tees. Not only Walmart's, but Ricky Morton's on Pro Wrestling Tees as well.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, buddy. It's great. If anybody out there interested in buying T-shirts, go to Pro Wrestling Tees because that helps the boys too. All right? It's not about their company. They help the boys. Hey, man, thank you for having me on your show.
Morton, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes.
We'll do it again.
Thank you so much, and God bless you, my friend.
God bless.